Podcast.com, and we're here today at Spider House doing collaboration with Austin Cast and Austin Lifestyles. I'm Kelly Cree, this is Jessica Mullen, and we're here with Ian Clarke today. Welcome. Thank you for coming and helping us work out our bugs.
Thank you. No problem.
So, like you mentioned before, you do a lot of kind of very different things, right? Like the technologies that you're involved in are kind of at separate, they're not even, it's like apples and oranges type of thing, right? So one of the questions we wanted to ask you was sort of about this concept of active living. Like it seems like you've gone through your whole, like we were saying, damn, this dude goes from company to company. It's like you really seem like you switch it up often. And is that something that you do deliberately, or?
I'm not sure about deliberately. I think that to some extent the industry I work in is technology, especially consumer technology, which I've done a bit of now with Rever and some other things. And one of the things about consumer technology is that it can be hard to know what's going to work until you've actually tried it. And so the only way to make that really work effectively is to try a lot of things. If something's not working, then stop and try something else. And so it's really kind of an evolutionary process. And so I've tried all sorts of different things. Some of them have worked pretty well, most of them, but you know, you really only need a couple of things to work well, and you're doing pretty well. So that's kind of it. I've really been kind of trying different things and experimenting, and there is kind of a common thread. I suppose the other part of it is that I've got a bit of a short attention span, and so, you know, I'll do one thing that's kind of some artificial intelligence type thing, and then the next thing I do will be very kind of something that based in Hollywood, where like Rever, where we're kind of really doing something in the entertainment space. So I think it's a variety of those things, but it's not really premeditated. I'm just kind of following my nose.
Yeah. So why hasn't our podcast made any revenue on Rever?
I actually haven't been involved in Rever since the end of 2006. So I'll give you the CEO's email address, and you can bug him about it. I don't. If I'm not on the payroll, I don't. I'm not going to respond to bugging.
So, would you walk us through like what you're working on this week?
So this week, and really for the last year, I've been working primarily on a project called SenseArray. And the purpose of SenseArray is quite simply to figure out what people want and give it to them. And I got interested in this area when I was still working at Rever, and we needed to figure out ways to decide what videos we should put on our front page, and how to promote those videos, or which videos to promote. Basically, we realized that for a consumer website like Rever, your success or failure depends on your ability to put stuff on the website that people are going to watch and that are going to keep them coming back. In fact, that's true of all websites. So I started to think about technologies for automatically determining which videos people might like to see. Rever at that time had tens of thousands of videos. Now I'm sure it's a lot more. And it wasn't really practical or desirable for us to do that in kind of a manual editorial way, because then if everything is controlled by an editor, then that kind of dictates the feel of the site, and we were looking for something more democratic and more kind of user-generated. So I started to research technologies which could figure out not just what people wanted in general, but what a specific individual might find interesting based on whatever information we had about them. And this type of technology is called a collaborative filter. They were first developed in the mid-90s. Probably two of the most prominent examples of users of collaborative filtering technology today would be Amazon, who use it to recommend products, and Netflix, who use it to recommend movies based upon how you've rated movies in the past. But one of the challenges with collaborative filtering technologies like that is for them to work effectively, they need a lot of data about a person. And if you're Netflix or if you're Amazon, maybe you have a lot of data, but certainly Rever didn't, and most companies are not in that fortunate situation. So the concept behind SenseArray is to design a collaborative filtering technology which can figure out what people want based upon relatively little data, where that data might be, you know, it might not be in the convenient form of ratings like with Netflix, or in purchase decisions like with Amazon. It might be free-form metadata. So eHarmony, who's one of the companies I'm working with now, when you sign up for eHarmony, they ask you, I think it's 100 questions about various psychometric questions, you know, trying to determine your personality, what religion are you, this type of thing. And what we discovered we could do at SenseArray was just basically feed all of that information in. We didn't even tell it what the information meant. We just allowed SenseArray to look for patterns in user behavior that people might not realize exist. And so that's basically SenseArray. And so this week specifically, I'm deploying SenseArray with a targeted advertising company who want to use SenseArray to figure out what ads people are going to find most interesting, and thus increase their conversion rates and revenue. And one of the problems with SenseArray is that it's this big complicated black box, and so when you kind of put the data in and the numbers you want don't come out, it can take a while to figure out why. And so, you know, you think you've been debugging this today, I've been really debugging up to my nose in code and, you know, trying to figure stuff out. So that's been my week.
So I saw a YouTube video that you had that was like a figure that was learning how to jump higher with some music behind it. Can you explain, what was it, gradient descent?
That's correct.
Could you explain that a little bit? It was really interesting video.
Sure. So this gradient descent is a technique used a lot in artificial intelligence, which is kind of broadly the area that I work in. The concept behind gradient descent is pretty simple. You have a problem, and in the case of the video you're referring to, the problem was, how can we make a human stick figure jump as high as possible? And rather than people sitting down and trying to figure this out and maybe trying to imitate how people do it in a very time-consuming process, they wanted to just let a computer figure out how to make this stick figure jump as high into the air as possible. And so the way it works is, it will start out, and you'll see at the beginning of the video, it's kind of flailing around in an amusing but not very useful way. And what happens is, every time this little stick figure does this, it's actually breeding about, I think it's 1,000 stick figures. You don't see this happening, but what's going on behind the scenes is it's creating 1,000 of these, each with slightly different jumping strategies. It's taking the ones that jump highest, which in the beginning is just making it an inch off the ground, and then they are taking the ones that do best and combining them, just like with evolution, to create a new generation, and they just keep going. And so what you see as the video progresses is that this stick figure jumps higher and higher into the air, and it's just a computer figuring out how to make that happen.
It's very interesting. Well, thank you for this technology segment.
Thank you very much. We didn't even get to talk about freenets yet. That's the part I really want to talk about. Next segment.